Thank you. Please resume your seats. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are grateful for your presence in this auditorium this afternoon, even as we listen to an inaugural lecture by Professor Nyarko-Sampson, a professor of guidance and counseling. He will take us through the topic, through the changing scenes of life, finding a fit in the world of work. This afternoon, to chair this inaugural ceremony or address, we have our own Vice Chancellor, Professor Johnson Nyarko-Sampson. Please, shall we do it for him, even as he comes up to welcome all of us and introduce our speaker. Once again, let's do it for him. He has told me that the club offering is too weak. Shall we give him a bigger one?
Thank you, MC. Honorable Minister of Energy, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, the Chairman of Council, Professor Obim Reku, Chairman of Council, University of Energy and Sustainable Development, Professor Dr. Jonathan Na-Ayuti, members of the University of Cape Coast Governing Council, Rosemond Bohin, Vice Chancellor, University of Cape Coast, Mr. Jefter Emmanuel Onyame, Registrar, University of Cape Coast, Osabare Makwesi Ata II, Omahin of Uga Traditional Area, supported by Nana Kweku Enu, Marehin of Uga Traditional Area, Emin Simin, Nana Otu, the 11th, Omahin of Abba Traditional Area, Okrepele, where Kanoba Saswaku II, Honorable Chief of Inaugural Traditional Area, Professor Nyarko-Sampson, Vice Chancellor, University of Environment and Sustainable Development, Professor Chancellor of Akintin Apia Minka, University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development, Professor Joshua uccsrc, Vice Chancellor, Technical University, Cape Coast, Pro-Vice Chancellors of Sister Universities present, Registrars of Sister Universities present, Professor D.D. Kupori, former Vice Chancellor of University of Cape Coast, Professor Joseph Gate Ampia, former Vice Chancellor of University of Cape Coast, Professor George K.T. Odro, former Pro-Vice Chancellor, University of Cape Coast, Professor Dora Francisca Edubuando, former Pro-Vice Chancellor, University of Cape Coast, provosts, deans, directors of academic and administrative units, heads of department and heads of hall, members of convocation, staff and students, distinguished invited guests, friends in the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. On behalf of the Governing Council, management, staff, and students of the University of Cape Coast, I welcome you all to today's professorial inaugural lecture to be delivered by Professor Nyarko-Sampson. We wish to extend a hearty welcome to all our special guests, families, and friends of Professor Nyarko-Sampson. We say Akwaba. We appreciate your presence and support. Distinguished invited guests, within the academy, the inaugural lecture provides the occasion for universities to acknowledge the appointment or promotion of academics to the rank of professor, introduce them, and provide them with the opportunity to engage with the university community. An inaugural lecture is therefore significant in academics' career, recognizing their promotion to professor. Ladies and gentlemen, these lectures form a key part of the traditions of the University of Cape Coast, where we create the platform to enable our astute professors to showcase to the university-wide audience their research or their perspectives on issues of interest to them. Though Professor Nyarko-Sampson was promoted to the professorial rank in 2018, it is today that he will celebrate this important personal milestone with a broad audience, including members of the public, family, friends, and colleagues, both old and new. Professor Nyarko-Sampson will synthesize his scholarship and contribution to knowledge in his field of specialization, which is guidance and counseling, in the inaugural lecture captioned "Through the Changing Scenes of Life, Finding a Fit in the World of Work." I understand that Professor Nyarko-Sampson is the first professor of guidance and counseling to deliver his inaugural lecture. He will deliver the lecture in a simplified manner so that individuals who do not belong to the same field with him will understand what he has come to say. Ladies and gentlemen, before Professor Nyarko-Sampson steps forward to deliver his inaugural lecture, permit me to read his profile. Professor Nyarko-Sampson is a professor of guidance and counseling, and currently the Vice Chancellor of the University of Environment and Sustainable Development in Somenya. Professor Nyarko-Sampson began his education at Apua Methodist School near Takoradi, then to Abakrampa Methodist Primary School, Buamponsim Primary and Middle Schools in Dunkwa Onofin, and finally Abum AME Zion Middle School, Cape Coast. He attended University Practice School, Secondary School for his General Certificate of Education, ordinary level, and continued to Commander Training College, now Commander College of Education, where he had his initial teacher training education Certificate A. He holds a Bachelor of Education in Psychology, Master of Philosophy, Guidance and Counseling, and Master of Arts, Human Resource Management, all from the University of Cape Coast. He graduated with a Doctor of Philosophy degree in Educational Guidance and Counseling from the University of Ilorin, Kwara State in Nigeria. He was the founding dean, Faculty of Educational Foundations, College of Education Studies, University of Cape Coast, having served in various capacities in the university. He taught courses and serves as a facilitator at the national and international workshops in counseling, human resource management, and organizational behavior and change. His research interests include career counseling, school counseling, teacher education, issues of multiculturalism, and entrepreneurial education. Professor Nyarko-Sampson's major research focuses on school counseling and the implementation and evaluation of counseling services at all levels in Ghana's educational institutions. His studies also investigate entrepreneurship as an alternative to building careers among the teeming youth, and thereby tackling the age-old issue of youth employment. He's a member of teams researching on issues in teacher education. Professor Nyarko-Sampson has supervised and successfully graduated 13 postgraduate students in the level of Masters of Philosophy and Doctor of Philosophy, and published widely in locally and internationally referred journals. Professor Nyarko-Sampson serves as an external assessor or examiner for universities within Ghana and outside Ghana. He has served as chairman for the following committees and board: Committee on Strategy for Placement of Products of Government-Free Senior High School Policy, Committee to advise the Honorable Minister of State for Tertiary Education on distance education in Ghana, Committee to consider offer of land with structures for the establishment of a college in a College of Education at Zolumbu, Jomoris District, Western Region, and Board of Governors, Ugwa Secondary Technical School. As chairman of Ghana's National Teaching Council from 2017 to 2020, Professor Nyarko-Sampson led the agency of the Ministry of Education in nationwide major reforms in teaching profession to uphold the standards of teaching by the provision of a quality assurance process to support the delivery of education in pre-tertiary institutions. He led the National Teaching Council to introduce and organize the first ever teacher licensing examinations, the Ghana Teacher Licensure Examination in Ghana, as part of the process of teacher professionalization. He also served as a member of the following boards and committees: Governing Council, Methodist University College, Ghana; National Council for Tertiary Education; Academic and Technical Committee of National Council for Tertiary Education; Finance Committee, Ula College of Education, Cape Coast, among others. On 30th May 2022, Professor Nyarko-Sampson was awarded a fellowship by the African Federation of Teaching Regulatory Authorities in recognition of distinguished contribution to the development of the teaching profession at the national and international levels. The fourth person in Ghana to receive such award since its inception in 2017. He is an accredited public relations professional of the Institute of Public Relations, Ghana, a member of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management, Ghana, and other international bodies. He is a local preacher of the Methodist Church since 1995. Professor Eric Nyarko-Sampson is married to Margaret, a chief nursing and midwifery officer of the Central Region, and blessed with 2 young adults, Eric Jr. and Peggy Sonia. Professor Eric Nyarko-Sampson was appointed as Vice Chancellor of the University of Environment and Sustainable Development in Somenya on 1st June 2020, where he currently serves as the Foundation Vice Chancellor. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for the welcome and introduction. Before our speaker comes to take over the podium, we have prepared a gentleman, and this gentleman goes by the name of someone who is now very busy. 2 political parties are appealing to him to arrest this or arrest that. So this gentleman here this afternoon is going to speak to us by way of poem or poetry. He's not going to arrest any of us. He's going to deliver what they now call spoken word. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, shall we now welcome Kwame Dampare. I said the gentleman is not going to arrest any of us. Shall we acknowledge his presence as he comes? Kwame, please, if possible, find another name so that you don't become fearful. People will come to you as easily as possible. Yes, he needs his own microphone to do his show.
Thanks so much. So this is Kwame Dampare, not the IGP, but Dampare, the poet. Some think I'm a linguist, yet a mathematician. In a system of passion, if I recall my actions, then words will be my factory and numbers will be my battery. Thanks so much. I'm performing a spoken word caption, the rhythms of excellence in life. Very soon night will dawn to still our sunshine. Snores shall be gathered from homes into rhythmic procession. But when the gods of inaugural lecture comes, tell them that unity in diversity shrouded with tranquility intertwined with excellence is all that we love to hold as one people. Aiko Okunini Nyarko-Sampson. Right from the onset, you change your mindset to meet the target set. All this was not without frustration, but you battled every situation that seems to dwarf your progression, just for your elevation. So with a standing ovation, we give you military salutation. No allurement, no frustration, just accept our congratulations. The tuning of life appears like mirage, massaging light from far to dim when near. Mind-blowing incidents appear, preparing the heart to tear. Within a week, month, or a year, the crucible swells. The signals are not clear, making vision blur. The imagination sounds we hear, the setbacks we bear, the dreams we fear, the pains we wear. Who is to cheer? One friend so dear, telling us to press on and go higher. Do you want to get to the top of the mountain? Or enjoy success fountain? A path of tons of pains, almost nonsensical to obtain. Unbearable, worrisome, draining the brain. But hey, wait. You get a future to attain. Pure and noble standard to maintain. Stand up, shake up, and press on. Cause no pain, no gain. I want to give you a gist. Add it to your list. It is time to right wrong. Just be bold and stay strong. The night is in, but it won't be long. Stand up and be counted. To you, a brighter future is promised. Sometimes the step, no, not destination. But But it doesn't call for resignation. For success is not in stagnation. Never give up. Press on for progression. You'll be hard pressed on every side, yet not crushed. Perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Strike down, but not destroyed. Arise and move on. Wanting to move on. From bottom to top. Wishing to move on. For failure to stop. Then shun the peripheral allurement. For they are not your goals adornment. Use your weakness to shoot to the mountains. Or better still, change your weakness curtains. Employ the code of champions. Till the last drop of my blood, I will never say die. When the going get tough, the tough get going, they say. Pinching the veins is the bragging nature of discouragement. But hey, wait. You get a dream to live, a world to touch, a life to impact. Brave the storms to leave a mark. Die a mantra or leave a shack. With the right mindset, you can achieve your target set. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kwame, for your poetry recital. And as you speak, I believe that you do as such. I want to try this poem or this line from a group, hip hop group called Prayer. It says that Matisa Mami Ojuma Ministries, Mesumi Pastries. Please clap for me. Right, time now for us to listen to our friend, our father, our husband, our uncle, our dean, our boss, and all that. So, ladies and gentlemen, time for us to listen to Professor Eric Nyarko-Sampson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boy. So, as we call him, is my childhood friend. As young boys, we were telling our parents that when we grow up, we will become professors, and that we will leave our hair bushy, and then we will leave a lot of beard, and that we will even turn our beard into dreadlocks. And that's the first time I heard unkempt. Our mother's nurses, so they said, "You look unkempt." And so thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, I want to associate myself with the protocols that you established and say good afternoon. I give all glory, honor, and praise to God Almighty, my faithful guide, keeper of my life, and shepherd of my soul, and by whose power and will I stand before you today to join my predecessors who have been listed as having delivered inaugural lectures in their respective areas of specialization, and to deliver my inaugural lecture in guidance and counseling. Today is a very special day in my life, in that this occasion is an affirmation of the fact that great things are possible with God. Focus, perseverance, determination, and hard work. Of a truth, God rules in the affairs of men, and he really knows the way he taketh. I also wish to sincerely thank the Vice Chancellor and the University Administration for honoring me with such opportunity, and thank all of you gathered here for celebrating this day with me. I am sure a host of you who did not have the opportunity to ask me about the title of my lecture will get your answer or answers here by the end of the lecture. The title, Through the Changing Scenes of Life, Finding a Fit in the World of Work, seems so interesting as it tells us issues related to career decision making in my life and by extension to young people the world over, specifically Ghana and Africa. The title stems out of my deep conviction as a man of the Methodist faith, and as the first part is the first line of the first stanza of the Methodist hymn number 427, this title was born on the 8th of October 2018 when I turned 50. Please, can I have it? So the title, as we know, is Through the Changing Scenes of Life, Finding a Fit in the World of Work. It looks so interesting, so simple, but so full. Mr. Chairman, this is how the outline is. My journey into guidance and counseling, career guidance, and all that. But the first question is, why guidance and counseling? I tried to go into medicine because my mother was a nurse, and my plan was to open a big hospital for her. While she worked as a nurse, I would work as a medical officer. Well, she knew that my math was not too strong. So each time she came to see me reading, she would laugh at me and say, "No, la maths in yet. Na care science I did." So how was I chosen to do science? In the selection of courses in Form 3, those times, in my time, they arranged 3 rows with tables. So when they mention your name, Kofi Mensah, arts, then you walk through one of them. Then it means you are going to read arts. They mentioned Nyarko-Sampson and said arts. So Nyarko-Sampson walks through the arts row, gets to the end, and takes the other end and joins the science team. Ladies and gentlemen, the interesting thing was that the man who called my name for me to join arts and move to the next was teaching me in the science class. He never noticed that he called me for arts, and how come I find myself in science? So guidance and counseling became an issue. Later on, I learned that he was the guidance coordinator of the school. You can imagine my thoughts. But I got into guidance and counseling. I said teachers matter. Teachers create impressions on their learners which can stay there with them for many years. In my first degree as a psychology student, I met Mrs. Achamfo Yeboah, who was teaching us Introduction to Guidance and Counseling. And this woman taught us so well that my interest in the course really was elevated. If you saw this woman, the way she comes to class, she will teach from the beginning to the end. She doesn't close 30 minutes to time. If it's 2 hours, she teaches for 2 hours. So I made up my mind to take after that woman and learn in guidance and counseling. So I decided to take a course in guidance and counseling. Somewhere along the line, I saw a sandwich program for MEd administration when it was introduced. On the day of the interview, I found out that I was the youngest. These were elderly people. So when I went, the panel asked me, "Eric, what are you doing here?" I said, "I came for an interview." He said, "For this course?" I said, "Yes." I remember, he's not here, one of our cherished professors. He said, "Eric, you are a young man. Why don't you take the MPhil rather?" So I left the interview room very dejected, very, very dejected, until I met Professor J.K. Suman, who I had discussed my interest in MPhil guidance and counseling with, and so they got me enrolled. In there, I began to understand some deeper things in the area of guidance and counseling. Whilst I was pursuing that, I also got for myself a professional diploma with the International Professional Managers Association in UK. So you see, I was not too stable. I wanted to do a little here, do a little there. Somewhere along the line, in my first year in the university, I was a presenter with the Atlantic FM. So I did radio for 15 years. And when I completed my first degree, there were numerous offers, Kumasi, Accra, to the extent that some of my mates thought I was not too serious. That's why I'm refusing some of these offers. But I refused to go and then took, if you like, I stayed with where I wanted to go. Then I got a master's in human resource management. So where did I want to fit actually? A little here, a little there. I've not told you that in my O levels, I was doing a little science, a little business, a little arts. So that if it doesn't go here, it will go here. If it doesn't go here, it will go here. All right. So now I have this MPhil, I have the MA, I have all these things. Where do I want to go now? I had an interest in communication because even though I was not trained in radio, people thought that I was doing marvelous, that I was even facilitating workshops in radio for people. So do I go to do a communication course, postgraduate diploma in mass communications? But I think God gave me a direction when I met Professor Frederick Okansi. And he calls me uncle. So he said, uncle, where do you want to go? I've heard you want to leave the university. I said, no, I'm here. I'm thinking. I think after 3 prompts, I made a decision to stay. And so I stayed. Now, as I stayed, this is an MA in HR. You have something in personnel management, and then you want to do other things. As a young lecturer in 2006, when I returned to the office, my director told me our dean had come to look for me. What he asked was that, have you done something wrong? Because the dean came looking for you. I said, no. He said, these people, they don't come down to that level. But if he comes down to that level, it means that you must have done something wrong. I said, well, I don't know. So I went to see that. He said the dean left a message that when you come, go and see him. The dean of education at that time was Professor Joseph Gate-Ampia. So when I met him, he said, oh, Eric, I said, sir. And you can imagine saying sir to him how I was feeling. He said, yes, but I see that you have an MA. I want to recommend a PhD in human resource for you. Then I became a little easy. So I explained to him, I said, sir, I want to pursue the guidance and counseling. Then he said, okay. The second time, Prof called me again and said, okay, so I have got a program for you in Nigeria. Then I said, oh, UCC with Ilorin had also gotten one for me. But the professor you were telling me about, he was my next door when you sent me to a workshop in Kenya. So when I told him that Ilorin has offered me admission, he said that is okay. So, in all these changing scenes in my little life, whether I will go here, or I should go here, or I should go here. Soa gave a line of rap. I have another one, but I won't give that one. So where did I think I fit? Where did I want to fit? Where did I find fit? Where did I fit? Prof. Chair, that is where most young people the world over, and particularly in developing countries like Ghana, find themselves. Young people 18 to 25 often find themselves in situations that are not so different from mine. That's why for this lecture, I try to work with the PR section to invite secondary school students to listen to some of these things. Finding where young people fit appropriately is an issue. I use the word appropriately because there may be a way that seemeth right, but the end thereof. Young people today face a plethora of challenges: social potholes, emotional hindrances, psychological disequilibrium, political and economic uncertainty. I read on a WhatsApp page, I don't know the age of the person who was advising the other people, say, young people, if an opportunity comes for you to leave this country, leave. But he didn't say leave to where. So they still find themselves in that confusion. These challenges, coupled with finding a job, building a career, and raising a family, may impede their successful progression throughout life. Finding the appropriate career depends on a larger extent to which a young person's personal traits, abilities. So abilities, characteristics, and interests match or fit. So it's not just doing something, but where do I fit? I put this picture here. You can't read it, but if you can read it, it says, son, this hurts me more than it hurts you. But I'm not putting you down until you promise not to go to art school. So this is a father who has pulled the son up by the hair and wants a promise from the young boy to say that, Daddy, I'm not going to the art school any longer. So we're talking about fit. Where do we fit? So when these young people are not fit and they get themselves into an occupation in which they are not fit, give them some time. They get into challenges, mental health issues, which will affect their future life or reduce their self-esteem, which will then affect their decision-making abilities. When that happens, it leads to dissatisfaction on the job, which results to increased workplace accidents. So if the person is a nurse, my mother was a nurse, so please pardon me to use the nurse. If he's a nurse, he comes to work confused and has to inject possibly the right arm. You are sure where she may inject. So it may cause other accidents. They may even pour the chemicals on their hands, not use the right working tools and all that. And so when that happens, it results in high organizational expenditure on healthcare and high employee turnover. And this may affect the home of the individual. So finding a fit in the world of work is so different from finding a place at work. If you ask somebody, or somebody called you and say, oh, please, can you find a place to put me? You say, put me, Famisha baby. Pacho, ubet me the masha baby, a quine be or or they say, Pacho, my bofrey, we school at Tifiesa, Messi me Fiona said, a quine da hona, now the nasha. So, what really did he or she do? And where, oh, dear baby, that's anywhere. Please put them anywhere. My PhD was in entrepreneurial education as career aspiration for young people in senior high schools. And as I spoke with them, you ask them, what career do you want to enter? Sometimes they say anything. Anything. And sometimes just a shrug of shoulder because they don't know. Or they mention some high level. But can we blame them? We cannot blame them because they have not had what it takes to be able to make career decisions. And in the university, apart from those who have entered into career-specific studies, there are some of them in the universities, you ask them of their careers, and it's an issue. So, what do they think about it? How do they prepare to find a fit in the world of work? So, a lot of things come run into their mind. What, to the left, to the right, to the front, to the back, to the center. And so they say, Minko ajua ana minko. Minko ajua ana minko ata. Okay. So, in finding an appropriate field of fit in the world of work, you see that the individual becomes satisfied, there's an increase in productivity, the individual themselves are healthy, thereby increasing life expectancy. And I like the title of my PhD supervisor who is here with me. He supervised me in Nigeria, Professor Motosho. In his lecture titled, "In Choosing Our Careers, Hit or Miss," he concluded that we miss more than we hit. So if we choose it anyhow, we will get it anyhow. It's important then to find where we appropriately belong or where we appropriately fit. Therefore, guidance and counseling, and specifically career guidance or career counseling, becomes imperative for young people. These are a few things about career guidance. What is it and what it goes with. But where I want to stress, ladies and gentlemen, is career aspirations. Where do we aspire to go? And aspirations, according to Baruch, emerges from the individual. So it doesn't come from anywhere, it doesn't come from anybody. It emerges from the individual, from one's values, one's norms, one's beliefs, and is strongly related to what motivates people to choose or remain in a certain career, in a certain job, or in a certain lifestyle. What it means is that the people must look at themselves. Man, know thyself. If you know thyself, you know what you can do, then you will choose what you can do. You won't be like the young person who wanted to be a medical officer, and each time they went to theater and he saw blood, he collapsed and they had to bring him to the hostel. So, occupational aspirations exert a major influence on the development of an individual's career. What is your career aspiration? You don't get there before you get in, but you must have taken that decision, thought about it, and taken the decision to get there. So in career aspirations, where do we want? What do our students want? In all these areas, where do they want? There is the ones that they want and what they are fit for. So you can't say you want to read medicine, or you want to be a science student, read medicine, and be reading solved mathematics questions. Solve mathematics questions. They solve the questions for you, and you read instead of solving it yourself. You can't do that. There are areas that you can't go when you don't have what it takes. So I define fit, or Tinsley defined fit to mean congruence or correspondence. As I mentioned earlier, man, know thyself. Your abilities, your capabilities even to include your limitations. How will that come together to make you fit appropriately for a specific job? And so in making career choices, it is important to note that there is a need to turn to career theories, which will assist in helping young people to understand. So it's important. Turning into career theories means turning into the professionals in the career guidance field. I have heard heads of institutions and others say they don't have anything to do with guidance and counseling coordinators, because in their university they also did guidance and counseling, and I even got B. That's one course. You've not done the whole course. So, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes when people do not understand themselves, they will go for anything. But when they use self-knowledge and use career knowledge, they are able to make the decisions. When they are not able to make the right decisions, they become frustrated. And sometimes it ends up in the abundance of occupational spaces or career opportunities. The requisite skill sets are not available. And so whilst on the other hand, you say, oh, there is no job, there is no job, there is no job. On the other hand, there are jobs where we don't have the people with the requisite skills to get them. So in the abundance of occupational spaces or career aspirations, the requisite set skills are not available. And I picked some things from the Future of Jobs in the World Economic Forum, which says that jobs are transiting. Jobs are transiting. They mentioned some areas from 2022 where jobs will go, to include software application developers, managing directors, sales and marketing professionals, and all that. And one of the things they say is that emerging skills would include analytical thinking. So it will not just be the rote way of doing things. It will not just be doing things the olden way, but analytical thinking and analysis, leadership and social influence, emotional intelligence, resilience, stress tolerance, and flexibility. I show this picture, which I saw on BBC. What you see there, Prof. Chair, is a machine that lays blocks. So you are thinking about the work of masons, the work of the people in the construction industry. So if we move forward, so you see the yellow arm. The yellow arm is releasing the mortar to fill in between the bricks. And this arm is placing the bricks there. So the future of jobs is going to move from where we are now into a different level. How do we get our young people to get to where they are supposed to be? And so I say that conscientious efforts should be made to guide our young people to make subject or program choices that will lead to building careers which will help them compete in the international world of work in the future. That sends me to school counseling. How well enough do we take school counseling? So school counseling has traveled a long way and has come to us now, and it is more important than ever. It is an important part of guidance and counseling, and it is required at all levels of education. Prof. Chair, provision of career guidance through the school guidance program is essential to students, particularly in the production of qualitative and competitive students. So that when we say we have produced 5,000 students, they are going out. Where are they going to? What are they going to do? That is why sometimes in your VC, in your graduation speeches, when you say God bless you, they say amen. You say when you go, you find jobs, you say amen. Because they are confused. They don't know what the world of work, what is in store with them. So they will catch it from the VC's mouth, find jobs. So you hear the shout of amen louder than the amen to the prayer itself. So the need of our young people cut across borders. However, majority are similar, save cultural, ethnic, and geographical differences. And I cited this example from when I went to Ilorin and I was working with the counseling center. Once they get in, you want to see a counselor? Yes. My accent gives me out as a non-Nigerian. And so they won't tell me. Once I have the initial discussions with them, they say, oh, we'll be back. They won't come again. So I asked the coordinator, Prof. Sayaya, I said, Prof, these young people come and they say they will go in, they will come back, they don't come back. He said, yes, because they realize from your speech, from your accent, that you are a foreigner. And here, in our local background, they say, you don't tell your story to the foreigner because he will use it against you one day. I say, okay, now I understand. But all that they shared with me is the same as was shared with me here in UCC. I cite the challenges of education in the 21st century, 2002, by a committee led by Professor Tvucc Anamwa, which also lays credence on the fact that guidance and counseling is important. Guidance and counseling is important because it helps people to understand themselves better. It doesn't impose. The counselors do not impose. They help the individual to understand themselves. Once you get self-knowledge, you are able to do what you are supposed to do. I pick a line from that document which says, while many schools do not have guidance and counseling personnel, the few in the system are overburdened with classroom teaching, resulting in adequate counseling services. And I've made this statement once to say that let's take a second look at the load, the teaching load of the people we call guidance and counseling coordinators. At a point, I was so sad to hear that the quota system from GES does not include guidance and counseling studies in the tertiary institution, because some heads say that they themselves will be responsible for guidance and counseling. So far, tertiary institutions have done well in setting up guidance and counseling centers, but you ask the question about the equipment. Are they well equipped? If you look at the colleges of education, look at some of the universities, look at the universities, I'm talking about both public and private, you ask the question whether they really have well-equipped offices. And even to the extent of the district education directorate, who is in charge? What is his or her training? What can he or she do? What programs does he or she draw out? This leaves a lot to desire. I concede that efforts are being made to address some of these challenges because in my little life, I've been involved in some of these things. I cite this example from the 2016 election manifesto of the New Patriotic Party, which says that they intensely focus on providing effective and professional guidance and counseling services to pupils, students, and young people to facilitate their personal growth and development on page 10. And I ask, how far have we come? Because if you consider the things that are happening, we only hear of guidance and counseling or guidance coordinators in the media when we have vices or misbehavior from these young people. I say, where are the counselors? Where are the counselors? Where are the psychologists? So it's like they are fire service workers. So what are my contributions to finding a fit in the world of work and school counseling? Why did I focus on career counseling and on school counseling? And I have talked about my experience in secondary school, moving from Form 3 to Form 4. So if you put us anyhow, without explaining to us, we also end up going into anyhow. So what measures in school counseling have been put in place or need to be put in place to professionally assist students to discover themselves and make informed decisions or choices? That if you decide to move to the right, it means you have considered yourself to move to the right. You move to the right, come to the center, and then end up to the left. It's important to collect data in order to ensure we do this. So in career counseling, I have done a couple of research and with colleagues printing out some of the things in career counseling. And one of the research that interests me most is the number one, where UCC sponsored us to do a research in person, environment, fit, and turnover intentions of senior high school teachers in Ghana. We tried to find out the teachers that are in the senior high schools, did they all decide or intend from the onset to go there to teach? And finding themselves there, do they find themselves being in the right profession? And I was told of a young boy in class 4 who was asked what work in the class. They were asking, when it got to him, he said, "Medi teacher kakra na menye adwuma papa na mejaya akwa." You know, so there is an impression that people end up where they didn't settle. That's where the fit comes in. And we found out very interesting things. So in there, you have somebody who is teaching physics or teaching mathematics, but has gone to do an MBA in HR. So you ask the person, what is the bearing of mathematics on MBA? HR. I say, you don't intend to stay. If I'm your head, I would have released you long ago. And they will laugh. Because they have one leg here, they have one leg here. You can't trust them. So these are some of the things that I have done. Number 3 is a work I did with this Nyarko-Sampson, which looked at sources and effects of stress on work performance and coping strategy among nurses at the University of Cape Coast Hospital. And these are also a few of them that we did. With my supervisor, we looked at Ghanaian students' self-knowledge and aspirations for entrepreneurial careers. What are the implications for sustainable development? I was not in Somenya then. I was in UCC. The sustainable development came there. Okay. So in school counseling, these are a couple of the works that I have also done with colleagues and with my students. These are a couple of them. Ochre, Awabile, and Nyarko-Sampson, for instance, is to assess the counseling needs of students in a Ghanaian public university. And then Nyarko-Sampson and Dabone, 2016, is to assess the counseling needs of undergraduate students on multiple site sandwich programs of the Institute of Education. If we know the sites, the colleges become the sites for these people. And what are their counseling needs? Some of them get into the programs just because they want promotion, but not really moving in tandem or aligning with the area in which they are. Once again, you have somebody reading business management when he's teaching mathematics in class 4. So when you ask them, where is the link? They will just smile. In my postgraduate work, as the chairman said, between 2014 and 2022, I have supervised or co-supervised 12 theses that have been completed, and I'm still working on 2 who are at their finishing stages. For master's level, I have done a couple of them. Here are some recommendations. For career guidance, Prof. Chair, I want us to have a shift. I can see Rita. Rita is smiling. She's one of my PhD, my first PhD student. There must be a shift by all stakeholders towards a view of guidance and counseling. That guidance and counseling is not a one-stop shop. It's a lifelong process. When we take that move, it will help us to put in the necessary structures and strategies to support the implementation of lifelong service. I'm also recommending that government should clarify the role of career guidance in national development by adopting a multi-sectoral approach to establish a career guidance policy framework. That we should not leave issues of guidance and counseling only to the Ministry of Education or to the Ghana Education Service. Can we bring in the social welfare? Can we bring in works and employment? So we bring all of them together to say that let us sit down and look at a framework that will help the young people. It's also very important to professionalize career guidance by highlighting basic professional competencies that are needed so that everybody will not call him or herself a career. Now they use career coach. But when they begin talking or working, they talk as though they are career counselors or something. It's important to say that if you say you are a career counselor, these are the competencies or programs you would have met in order for you to go through that. I think that the quest for Ghana Beyond Aid could serve as a catalyst for the formulation of a national strategy for career guidance and lifelong learning. That if we say that we are not going to go out there to depend so much on people, let us really invest in these young people. Let us show them the way, the right way, help them to make decisions that will get them to where they are supposed to get to. And by doing that, we will realize that we will raise a large army of young people who have a diverse background to help us to work. Scholars in universities in Ghana and Africa should undertake various research that will inform further education and practice in career guidance. I won't want to mention some of the topics now. Sometimes some of the topics, when the students bring them to you, you laugh, you ask them, so why? They say, I want to finish quickly. What is it going to add to knowledge? So at the postgraduate level, I think that our research must add to knowledge and change things. So at the MPhil level, you don't go and write factors that determine career choice of SHS student. We've gone past that. Now we should be thinking about new things. In school counseling, I'll pick the second one, that there should be a national policy on guidance and counseling in Ghana. Most part of this paper was done in 2020 when I was going to present before COVID brought in the lockdown. When I scheduled this was scheduled for me, I tried to go back to them to find out if there has been any change. It's the same. So I want to recommend to the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service to ensure that there is a national policy on guidance and counseling from which the guidelines that are in use now could be extracted. I have said not what is currently available. And also to recommend to the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service to endeavor to recruit professionally trained and well-qualified counselors and ensure that these persons practice on full time. If we want to get the best from them, take the load of teaching from them, and they will work well. As for the appointment of who becomes a counselor in a school, I will leave it to the heads if there are some of them here. Okay, so I will not comment on that. I'll move to the next one. Because I went to one secondary school and I saw the office labeled counseling office locked with padlock that had gathered dust and cobweb. When I asked, I was told that there is a friction between the counselor and the head. Enti no head no etu counselor no and awatu. That doesn't have to happen. I'm asking heads not to appoint counselors based on their feelings, on their thoughts. I feel that he is Osofumame, so he can be a good counselor. I think that he is a priest, so he can be a good counselor. What training has he had? Let us appoint people who have been trained professionally. And for counselors, it's not just the training, but lifelong training. It becomes important to attend other workshops that will sharpen your skills. Things are changing. And I'm happy to say that I know the UCC Counseling Center, having moved into tele-counseling, digital counseling, and all that. If we do that with training, our students can be helped much. And that we should make services available to all students in order to promote their total growth. These services help students in their total growth, or even young persons in their total growth. On this note, Prof. Chair, I want to thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Professor Chair, our speaker's confusion when he was about fitting himself in a career is akin to students who applaud and shout, respond amen to the VC's prayer. It is also akin to Act 3 of Amatedu's Dilemma of a Ghost when the character was talking about Elmina Junction, talking about a wretched ghost not knowing where to go and saying that, shall I go to Cape Coast or to Elmina? And he says that, I don't know, I can't tell, I don't know, I can't tell. But I believe that this afternoon, our speaker has told us what to do and to know where to go and to fit in rightly. Shall we applaud him once again? Ladies and gentlemen, before our speaker comes up again to do some acknowledgements, please get him some cold water to quench his thirst. Kobna Ayuko. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that some people, some personalities have contributed to who he is today, and the chairman will grant him the permission to acknowledge all these personalities. Once again, our speaker will come up and do justice to that. So, Registrar says that water is there. But please, before that, I believe that we have sat for some time. Mercy Achianu have been in the town for so long. Mercy, please come, take the microphone and give us 2 minutes of an interlude. Shall we welcome Mercy Achianu? Thank you, Mercy. And I believe that as a staunch Methodist, if anyone here can do a bibinyum, he will appreciate that. Once again, shall we welcome our speaker?
Thank you very much. Prof. Chair, I thank you for the opportunity. In this small but eventful journey of mine, I owe a lot of gratitude to many people. A smile here, a grin or a frown there, all got me going. Mr. Chairman, I wish to apply you to bear with me here. You see me alone here, but a lot of people have brought me here. I promise I won't take much time, because I will not mention even a tenth of them. Thank you. I wish once again to offer my praise and honor to God before men. He's made me a life testimony and a working confirmation that he rules in the affairs of men. I wish to thank the University of Cape Coast for offering me so many opportunities that helped me to reach where I am now. The university trained, prepared, and gave me a job from a senior administrative assistant up to this level. I wish to thank Professor S.K. Ajapong, Professor E. Ado Obing, Professor J. Nana Opoku Ajiman, Professor D.D. Kupole, Professor Joseph Gate Ampia, all former vice-chancellors, for the individual roles they play and continue to play in my life. I told you about that of Professor Ampia Gate. What about Professor Kupole? When I had the admission to go and do the PhD in Ilorin, and you know all the stories that were coming from Nigeria. So I sat down, I said, no, I won't go. So I went back to him in his house. I said, Prof, the program, a new one is coming to be introduced by another university. So I want to attend that university. He said, and then? I said, yes, and I want to do that one. He sat down for a while, looked at me and said, is there any problem in the house? I said, no. He said, what is Margaret saying? Is she saying you won't let you go? I said, no, sir. He said, my friend, get up, go and pack your things and go. Prof, I remember that one. That one I remember. In fact, quietly, I got out of his house and he saw me off and I came back home, packed my things and I went. So I thank you very much. I also wish to thank Professor J. Opare. Teachers matter. Teachers matter. The comments that we make about our students matter. He made one comment about me which changed my total life. Teachers matter. So teachers, please. I also wish to thank Professor Frederick Okansi, the former director of Counseling Center, the staff of the Counseling Center, staff of the Department of Guidance and Counseling, all other departments in the Faculty of Educational Foundations, staff at the Dean's Office, Faculty of Educational Foundations, and the College of Educational Studies. To my provost, Professor Davis, thank you, sir. To Professor J.A. Omotosho, my heartfelt thanks. God bless you, and you know all that I mean. Eshe Pupo, Eshe Go, Eshe Ogami. To Professor L.A. Yahaya and all the staff of the Department of Counselor Education, University of Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria, I thank you. Nananum Osaberi Makwisiata II, Nana Me Yaba, Nana Kweku Enu, my sincere thanks go to you. You have inspired me, you have pushed me, and I'm here. I thank you. My sincere thanks go to the following persons who were hall masters of Atlantic Hall I worked under, and whose encouragement is worth mentioning. Professors A.M. Abani, late H.O. Quist, who also happened to be my MPhil supervisor, Sir Knight Ananpra, and Dr. Kweku Kisakosa. I worked with the VC. When I was administrator, he was a hall counselor for Atlantic Hall. We worked together. Messieurs Edwin Asamoah and SWK Buame for the training they offered me in administration and the confidence they had in me. To all my colleagues on the governing councils of the National Teaching Council, National Council for Tertiary Education, Methodist University College of Ghana, Pentecost University College, Ola College of Education, and Ogwa Senior High Tech, I thank you. I want to thank the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church, Ghana, the Most Reverend Dr. Paul Kwabena-Boafo, the administrative bishop, Methodist Church, Reverend Bossman. I also want to thank the immediate past presiding bishop of the Methodist Church, Ghana, and the past chairman of council, Methodist University College, Ghana, Most Reverend Titus Awatri-Pratt. I also want to thank the past bishops of Cape Coast Diocese, Right Reverend I.K. Kwanzaa and E.A. Abeka Wilson. And also the current bishop, Right Reverend Richardson A. Andam, the Bishop of Somenya, who is here with me, Right Reverend Moses K. Jackson and his wife, Very Reverend Professor David Dodu and Mommy Charity, Very Reverend Ernest Tabiri, and the congregation of Reverend Gede Akwa Memorial Methodist Church in Abakrampa, my hometown. I also wish to thank members of the Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship, Cape Coast and Cape Verde chapters. To God alone be the glory. To all my friends, and especially my childhood friend, the gentleman who was standing here, George Sowaboy. Now he can't even manage his head. When we say we're going to leave bushy hair, now every time he says. And also to Tony Sasu, Ayisadu, Emmanuel Abe Kwesel, Emmanuel Kanta Koto, Robert Kwekumakin, and all COSA 91 mates, COSA Central, and all COSA folks. You are great. Thank you for being there. And also to Professor Mauto Avoke, the Vice Chancellor of UUW, to Reverend Father Professor Antonia Fubroni, immediate past Vice Chancellor, Professor George Kankam, and all the good friends of UUW Winneba. To my extended family, I thank you. I wish to make a special mention of my parents of blessed memory, Eric Nyarko-Sampson and Elizabeth Nyarko, who gave everything for our education. My late uncle John Kojo Odum, my aunts Gladys Ajo Odum, Sarah Nyarko, and Araba Nyarko. My brothers, the boys, who are my great companions, advisors, and guardians, Ernest, Edmund, Emmanuel, together with your wives, I thank you. I wish also to extend my sincere thanks to my wife's family. I'm grateful to all of you, especially Auntie, my mother-in-law. You have achieved all this with us. You are great. And to the children in the Nyarko-Sampson family, I thank you. Mr. Chairman, please permit me to show my heartfelt appreciation to some teachers who taught me and brought me this far. I wish to mention Mr. Agremensa, who taught me in Primary 1 in Abakrampa, and I'm sure he's listening to me on radio. And also to mention Miss Anastasia Bedu, who taught me in Primary 4, whose insults on our parents got me to answer her question in protest. That answer was the first time I spoke in public. And that is what has got me going. So teachers matter. I also wish to thank Mr. John K. Penyin and Miss Juliana Morgan, who taught me in Abum AME Zion, all in my formative years. There is a man I met, an elderly man, when I used to work as a casual at Accra Harbour. And you see money every 2 weeks. You are paid and you get a lot of money. But this man looked at me one day, called me, said, Sammy, I will hear crashing. That set me thinking again, and I want to thank that man. My thanks also go to the staff of the Ministry of Education and its agencies, particularly the National Teaching Council, the former Minister of Education and now Minister of Energy, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, MP, who is here, and his deputies. He didn't tell me he was coming, so we will talk about that when we finish. And his deputies for the opportunity he offered me to assist in directing Ghana's education. I'm grateful for the immense experiences I've acquired through this. May I use this opportunity to thank Professor Jonathan Na Ayete, Council Chairman of UESD, for his fatherly guidance and professional counsel. And his wife, Mr. Chair, he came with his wife. Thank you very much, Mama. I also want to thank Oklepeme Nue Anoba Sashraku II, the paramount chief of Yilo Krobo traditional area, represented by 3 of his sub-chiefs and a lot of queen mothers you see here. I also want to extend my appreciation to Odenehukwa Fakoto III, paramount chief of Akwemu, and Emin Timinim, Nana Otu the 11th, Abra Mahine, the Mahine of Abakrampa, the Mahine of Abra, which includes Abakrampa, where I come from. Here is my Omahine. He is young, a young Omahine. I will not forget the staff of the University of Environment and Sustainable Development, UESD. You see them in their greens. Thank you very much. God bless you for coming. Together we move on. You are a good force. Your encouragement gets us to do more. Mr. Chairman, finally, I want to thank my wife, Margaret. She believed in me as a post-secondary certificate A teacher and said, I do. She has endured my sleepless nights. Sometimes she'll come and call me, won't you come and sleep? I say, come here, come here, come here. She encouraged and sometimes forced me to eat. And after finishing eating, she will ask me to sit up. Because as I'm eating, I'm sitting on the bed eating. So when I finish, but she will say, sit up. And I had to obey. Above all, Mr. Chair, she understood my journey, prays for me, and continues to lend me the support I need. I thank you. Finally, Prof. Chair, permit me to thank you for this opportunity. It's a very great opportunity, and I want to thank you and the University Council. Thanks to Prof, Council Chair, Pro-Vice, Registrar, I call him technical. We were on one committee together, and it's a technical committee. Mr. Chairman, distinguished audience, I thank you all for enduring me. God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make our nation great and strong. I thank you all.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our man has thanked us. Shall we also thank him with a clap? Nsembonusa, Uncle. Thank you for clapping for him. We now come to the climax of this very occasion. Our speaker is about to join the club, and he's done the first leg. Now is the time for the College of Professors also to do the second leg so that he can duly join them. Time for me to invite the College of Professors to come up here, and then our speaker will come and go through the initiation process. Please join my director up here.
Hello. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say just something very brief before we rope him and invite him into the club. Eric did not mention that we had a long journey together. At the alumni office, when I was alumni national president, he served as secretary. And he belonged to a group I mentored, the Boys group. And you know, he didn't tell you that he's going to Nigeria, got so many of our colleagues to go and do the PhD there. And I was coordinator of the University of Cape Coast, University of Ilorin collaboration. And by the time he finished, another Ghanaian university had taken due advantage of the collaboration. And I'm talking of our sister university, University of Education, Winneba. And this being that it's like a ditch full of water. A group gets there, and then who is to jump across that ditch first? Everybody hesitated. And when I pushed him, he jumped, and all others saw that it was good to jump over that ditch. And I'm grateful he's walked and listened to advice, and so he has finally found a fit. So now, ladies and gentlemen, you see a group of young men with only one lady robed in navy blue. This is what we call the Club of Professors or College of Professors. We have so many of them on paper, but you become a member when you have stood here, exposed yourself, and made the whole world to know that yes, also we are painful. So Eric, we congratulate you. Right. So he's going to remove this red and we'll put the blue on him, indicating that he is now most welcome and that his journey has not really ended. This is the time he has to mentor others and bring them up and make his contribution known. You want to put it on top? No. Yes, no. When do you do it? No. Remove this. Let's do the proper thing. So certain traditions must be respected. Yes, sir. So I think now he's ready, and we're welcoming him into the club. Thank you very much.
So respectfully, I call on Minister of Energy and Chairman of Council to congratulate our new professor. Yes. Correct. Humbly, Pro VC, Registrar of UCC, Council Chair UESD, and Mama, please.
No, Mama,
Congratulate. Okay. Registrar UESD, Pro VC. Now, Mrs. Nyarko-Sampson, Kofi, and then the rest of the family, please. Now, Edmond, Emmanuel, and the rest, please. Brothers of Professor Nyarko-Sampson, Kwesi Mensah, Kwisan, and Fifi, please come and congratulate Big Brother. These are the people he calls boys. Please, if these are boys, please tell me. Brothers of our speaker. Now, I have Omale's friends. The friends are many. So please volunteer and then congratulate our speaker. Friends, volunteer and congratulate our speaker. He said he was going to do 1 hour and we are past 1 hour. So please, friends, come and congratulate him. COSA, University Practice, UESD, please come and then congratulate COSA. COSA. COSA, University Practice, Alumni Association, and a few friends.
Yes, thank you. Hey, Dan. Yes, thank you. Hey, Sasu. Obi. Ah, long time. Yes. Yes, sir. Closer. Hey, yes, sir, President. Yo, yeah, shine. Hey, love, yes, thank you. Hey, continue. Hey, Chief, if I trouble security for the military president. Thank you. Yes, hey, okay, ma'am. I will. Hey, Gladu. Hello, sir. Yes. Didi. Hey, Grace. Hey, Rose. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Hey, Brady. What's that? After this, yes. Yo. So you go to. Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Ah, so where is the head? I will have to investigate that. Yes. Hello, Bona. Hey, some of my last. Yeah. Hey, you all came. You came some. Okay. Hey, you are here. Come on, John. Hey. Prophet. Hey. Hey, Tony. Good to see you. Yes, brother. Thank Hey, yes. I can't watch you. Hey, what's that? Yes, thank you. Yes, Bishop, yes, sir, Bishop. Yes. Ah, so why didn't you follow your husband? Oh, you are bringing, is this World Cup? Thank you. Hey.
So, some members of the University Practice Secondary School Old Students Association, led by Mrs. Graham, a big woman, followed by another big man, Mr. Osu. Mr. Osu, Boys SP. Mrs. Graham will read the citation.
University Practice Old Student Association. Citation in honor of Professor Eric Nyarko-Sampson. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage of continuing that counts. Winston Churchill. A monument is not yet in your honor, but we came to honor. Your noble height in academia is our acolyte. Your enviable attainment is our obtainment. We therefore immortalize your achievement in ink. By dint of hard work, you sought to be a full professor. You committed to the success of education, governance and leadership in Ghana and beyond. Semper Apparatus. You place your expertise at the doorsteps of Ghana and across borders. University Practice Old Students Association, UPESA, and University Practice Senior High School now have enjoyed your kind gesture of love in your counseling, finances, social, spiritual, and material support to your alma mater and UPOSA. Today, we, the family of UPOSA, join the masses to celebrate you for making us proud. May the Trinity God bless and keep you and your family. UPOSA salute you on this special occasion. Ayuko Eric, Yamisha. Eric was my mate from Form 1 to Form 3. Form 4, I left University Practice School. So we were mates. And Mr. Owusu, when I was in Form 1, Director Owusu was in 6th Form. That's it. Yes. And our school prefect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Graham. Thank
you. So I guess.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this man, Master OC, has been a friend and a long-time driver and still a driver of our speaker. It says, he who laughs last, laughs best. Faculty of Education Foundations. They couldn't be left out of the show. Thank you very much, Professor Awabil and the team. Prof. Chair, permit me to do these acknowledgements, and pretty soon we'll be getting out of here. First on my list is Professor Obim Reku, Chairman of the Governing Council of the University of Cape Coast. Professor Johnson Nyarko-Sampson, Vice Chancellor. Dr. Matthew Puku-Prempeh, Minister of Energy. Professor Mrs. Rosemond Bohine, Pro Vice Chancellor. Mr. Jeff Onyame, Registrar of this university. Professor Jonathan Ayete, Chairman of Council UESD. Mommy is duly acknowledged as well. Professor John Blade Jr., Member of Council, UESD. Professor Wiafida Bra, Pro VC, UESD. Mrs. Mary Abna Ejapon, Registrar, UESD. Professor Emeritus K.N. Eisen, former Acting Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast. Professor Dora Edubando, former Pro Vice Chancellor of this university. Professor Elvis Asaribedeakun, VC, UENR, Sunyani, Fiapre, Sunyani. Professor Frederick Kweku-Safo, VC, Amstead. The name is long, but for time, let me shorten it. Professor Jeffus Anamwa-Mensah, former VC, UEW, and former Pro VC, UCC. Professor VPY Gajapo and Mommy, you are duly acknowledged. Former VC, former Pro VC, UCC, Professor Atu Esuman, Member of Council of State. Sir, you are welcome. Please permit me to go through the list of the College of Professors. Professor Domu Ndabre Kumpole, former VC. Professor Kofi Awusagwa Sare. Professor Eric Amukwando. Professor Joseph Gatti Ampia, also a former VC. Professor GKT Odro, former Pro Vice Chancellor. Professor JD Owusu-Sechere, VC, CCTU. Professor Livingston K. Samamwa, former Provost Cans. Professor John Victor Mensah. Professor Sarah Dakwa. Professor Y.A. Ankuma, and Reverend Professor Seth Asare Danso. I turn my attention to Nananom, please indulge me. We have Cyber Makwe started the second Ugwamahin. Nana Kweku Enu Maure Hin of Ugwa. It means meaning O2 the 9th. Abra Omahin Nana Akwaba. Asafache, Wache, Obeku the 3rd. Nene Amwate Akpasu Azavi, Nene, if I didn't mention, please, Kakemi. He is the rep of the Yilo Paramount Chief, Asafache, Kwaubacha, Obegu the 3rd.
Chairman of Council, UCC, he came with the wife.
All traditional leaders duly acknowledged. And our chairman of council, that is UCC chairman of council, Nana does not work alone. So, chair came with Mama. Mama, you are acknowledged. Now, Provost Professor Kofi Davis, Provost CES. Professor Martins Eko Kohas, Provost. We also duly acknowledge all directors, all deans, all staff of UESD, all University Practice Senior High School students present, all Abakrampa Senior High School students present, and there's nothing at the back of my sheet, which means that I've come to the end of the acknowledgements. Haven't acknowledged everyone. If we left you out, it wasn't our intention. Chairman of Public Service Commission is here. Shall we please acknowledge you? If that did not happen, all those of you who earn your income, your pay through that portion, your names would have been deleted. So now, each one of us has been duly acknowledged, and time for us to listen to our chair for the closing remarks. All right. Okay. Right. So our chairman will be here soon to close us. And before that, I want to ask that if Professor Kankambuedu is present, he should stay cool. His turn will come very soon to close us with a prayer. Osofu, enche baba. Baba sisi. Mercy. Is Mercy around so that you fill this in with an interlude as
They are around for some 10 minutes to take pictures. Baba, maybe after closing check the air.
Mercy. Yes, I ask you to prepare for one ebibinyum. If that's ready, please. Obinyu how may him be na yefan chairman. Thank you, Mercy. Time for us to invite our chair, to close us with his remarks. Professor Johnson Nyarko-Sampson.
I would like to stand on the protocol that I established at the beginning of the program to thank you for supporting me to handle this program to a successful end. But I would like to give the former Minister of Education and now the current Minister of Energy a short time to give a comment. So, Honorable, you are invited.
Thank you, Professor Wampum. I'm not sure this is to find a way of telling me they should not switch off the lights here for non-payment of electricity. It's a promise I cannot deliver. So I will not begin by giving it. But thank you for inviting me and Professor Obemreku onto your soil of UCC. For some time, coming to a university campus brings some shiver down my spine. In my work as education minister, Nanano professors, I was blessed to have some of Ghana's foremost educationists around the table, and one, Professor Nyarko-Sampson, we've come to acknowledge today. But a lot of them, I find here, really, if we did anything in education in the first 4 years, from free SHS to changing colleges of education, from training colleges, bridging the teacher training diplomas, Professor Davis, Professor Nyarko-Sampson, uccsrc, they all find themselves in this room, and I acknowledge their help and their support and their knowledge that we worked upon to achieve a little that we could for education. And I was just telling Prof that I'm happy that my professors don't retire at the age of that they are retiring for the work that they did. They did their work so that they could stay in employment for a very long time, regardless of. It is blessed. They say, if you be a penny nima yemaudie, right? And then penny-four in the university are the professors, and I'm happy to have been in the midst of such distinguished professors. But Professor Nyarko-Sampson, I don't know what to say, but he was so close. I got to know him when I got into the chair as Minister of Education, and I relied on him heavily for our teacher agenda. And he was happened to be the first National Teaching Council bringing standards and quality to the profession of education as the chair, and the Foundation Vice Chancellor. As the Minister of Education, I'm just privileged to be able to appoint one professor as a Vice Chancellor, and that was Professor Nyarko-Sampson. And Professor Wilmot, also of UCC in another university. Yeah, UCC, truly, when you listen to Anton, you are the teachers, even though you are struggling to run away from that. Some of us do recognize that, teacher there, now sorry, then the UCC, Ampiagati. In fact, I was so blessed that coming here, I was talking to Professor Ampiagati. We shared some work on Prof. Mother tongue, right? Mother tongue education. And I got into the Ministry of Education with the visceral hatred for that thing called mother tongue education, right? Because for me, politician, I realized that we want to split Ghana into small tribes. People who don't recognize it. Countries that have pushed mother tongue education, especially in a multicultural, multilingual setting, are feeling the pangs of some things that are not good. So we worked. I didn't know that somebody's lifestyle was education in pursuit of mother tongue. And then I met Professor Alpiagati, and he shared me with the relevant academic papers to support my assertion. And I was just telling him today, Oxford University is collaborating with me in writing a case study for Blavnik School of Government in the University of Oxford on that line. So thank you for your knowledge and everything. But today is the day of Samson Nyarko. I think such a young, full-blown professor, not an old one. I think you have a lot to give, and we look up to you to help us in this country. Thank you, and God bless us all.
So you all agree with me that Professor Nyarko-Sampson has done justice to the topic through the changes scenes of life, finding a fit in the world of work. He actually used his life, his educational life, to demonstrate the challenges students go through when they are schooling, when they want to select their programs. Though they may not have the talent to do some courses, they may have career aspiration that will compel them to do those programs. And he gave the theoretical background of guidance and counseling, focusing on career aspiration and then school counseling. He also talked about his research in school counseling and then career counseling, and made recommendations. One of the recommendations is that we should see guidance and counseling as lifelong process, and that government should also come out with national policy on guidance and counseling. He also talked about the fact that scholars should do research in relevant areas, especially in the area of guidance and counseling. Then he also asked or recommended that the government should recruit professionally qualified and competent guardians and counsel personnel or persons to actually handle guidance and counseling in the various institutions in Ghana. But he ended by saying that teachers matter, and that the future of jobs is uncertain. But he also mentioned, he was quick to mention that we need to train individuals to have critical mindsets. So as the future of jobs is uncertain, people can then adapt and then be able to move with the trend, or to be able to move with how the world is also changing. And so as educators, we should be mindful of how we help the young ones, especially these days that we have very young people coming into the tertiary education space. At the time we were students, you could get here when you are around 19, 20 years. And we came to meet people who have also gone through training colleges. So they were able to support us, the young ones. But nowadays, we have very young people in our educational institutions. And therefore, we must take guidance and counsel as a serious business so that we can train the people, mold them to become the future leaders of our nation. Professor Nyarko-Sampson, we thank you for taking us through this topic. And we hope we would take the lessons from this to actually help us train our people to become responsible citizens of the country. Thank you.
Right, so time for us to leave, but we can't leave before we pray. we pray before we leave. So I invite Reverend Professor Kankam-Boadu to do that for us.
Humbly, I want to ask that we be on our feet as we honor our ultimate reality. Now thank we all our God with hearts and hands and voices, who wondrous things hath done, in whom his world rejoices, who from our mother's arms have blessed us on our way with countless gifts of love, and still is our God to lean on. Our most gracious and everlasting Father, we cannot but to say that indeed you have been our helper, somebody who has supported us in all our doings. We started with your name, and this is how far you have brought us. Indeed, our dreams have been fulfilled. Our hearts acknowledge and have realized your supremacy in the life of our brother. Father, oh Lord, you have helped us heard what our brother has said in terms of faith in the word of lecture and in the word of work. Now, as we live in for our various destinations, may you go with us. May you take us to our various places. Now, the blessings of our Lord, the Lord Almighty, make his face shine upon you. Be gracious unto us. The Lord lift up his countenance upon us and give us peace. This and many others we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you very much, Osofo Kankam-Boadu. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Chair, we have come to the end of our program, and I believe that it has been a wonderful time spending with Professor Nyarko-Sampson. We are grateful. Chair, please, let's keep standing as our Chair, College of Professors, dignitaries, and ananum depart the hall. Our speaker will be up here for a photograph. Speaker. Debbie. We've catch room. You pass a microphone. You pass a catch room. Tony. Catch a cover. I say.